Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. In today's video we've got two stories and both of them have updates, so let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user EtherEconomy793. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband I told you so and laughing at him when we got the paternity test results? I, 27 female, have been married to my husband, 28 male, for 2 years and gave birth to our daughter 5 weeks ago. I'll try to keep this short so I don't waste your time with any irrelevant details. What happened was that our daughter came out with blonde hair and pale blue eyes, while my husband and I both have brown hair and brown eyes. My husband freaked out at this and refused to listen to my explanation that sometimes babies are born with lighter hair and eyes that get darker over time. He demanded a paternity test and threatened to divorce me if I didn't comply, so I did. After my daughter and I got home from the hospital, my husband went to stay at his parents' house for the first 3 weeks to get some space from me while I recovered, and he told them what was happening. My mother-in-law called and informed me that if the paternity test revealed that the child wasn't his, she would do anything within her power to make sure that I was taken to the cleaners during the divorce. Thankfully, I had my sister to lean on and help me take care of the baby during this. We got the results back yesterday and my husband came home to view them with me. I was on the couch in the living room, so he sat down next to me and we started to read the results. They showed that he was the father and my husband had this shocked, kind of mortified look on his face with his eyes wide as he stared at it. I couldn't help but say, "I told you so," and started laughing at the way he looked. My husband snapped out of his shock and got mad at me for laughing at him. We argued for a bit, which was mainly him yelling at me before my sister came downstairs and my husband shut up. After that, my husband went back to his parents' house to clear his head, and 2 or 3 hours later, my mother-in-law called to scold me about laughing in my husband's face, because apparently it was kicking him while he was down. She also left a couple of nasty texts essentially saying the same thing this morning. I don't think I'm an a-hole, but I'd like outsider perspective on this. Wow, OP, first of all, just to get it out of the way, no, you are most definitely not the a-hole. And rest assured that laughing in his face while telling him I told you so, I'd say is like the nicest response you could have had at that moment. Now, on a second note, OP, how's your future divorce coming? Cause let's face it, this has no return written all over it. First of all, he accused you of cheating on him without him saying so, because demanding a paternity test because you've got no idea how biology works is just plain stupid, number one. Number two is this mama's boy had his mom called you and threatened you that they would take you to the cleaners if the results didn't come back a certain way, and when they came back proving that he was absolutely wrong with everything he said and accused you of, you're the bad guy for laughing at him, and that is kicking him while he's down? So for your mother-in-law, him being down is the fact that the child is his and he was wrong to demand a paternity test? Honestly, OP, the level of gaslighting in that family is off the charts ridiculous. I am so sorry that your daughter is genetically connected to that bundle of idiots. And again, OP, no, you are not the a-hole, and I'm sorry to say, but I don't see this being walked back. So don't sleep on getting an appointment with an attorney soon. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? How would you have handled it? And what would you do if you were in her shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Character Figure 194 says, "This is insane. He abandoned you postpartum and forced you to take care of a newborn by yourself while healing. My husband and I also have a baby that looks nothing like either of us. She came out with strawberry blonde hair and blue eyes, while we both have brown hair and brown eyes. We both just said, wow, genetics are crazy, and moved on. I'm so sorry for what you're going through while being freshly postpartum with a newborn." Michael Afay says, "Not the a-hole. The fact he ran to mommy twice and allowed her to send you these texts is disgusting. This is meant to be the happiest moment of your life, bringing a child into the world, and they are ruining it. You are taking him to the cleaners, yes? Edit, I don't mean this literally, I'm merely copying mothers-in-law's ridiculousness. I'd hope for OP to get a clean break and escape the toxicity of this family. You don't need this in your life. And Terrible Cat 21 says, I'm not one to normally jump to the divorce, but this is a divorce-worthy offense. He's being emotionally and verbally abusive and allowing his mom to do the same. Instead of apologizing to you, groveling and doing everything he could to take accountability and prove he's a good husband, father, and man, he berated and verbally abused you. Not the a-hole, but I'd think long and hard about whether this is an environment you want to raise your kid in, one that is filled with verbal abuse, yelling, manipulation, threats, and refusal to take accountability. As the parent of a toddler, I would do everything in my power to protect myself and my child from people like your mother-in-law and husband. OP's edit. Since someone asked in the comments, but I can't find it anymore, I have zero history of cheating. Also, I did not realize he would refuse to listen to basic facts about biology when I married him. Okay, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and that this is most likely the end of the line for this marriage. Now, unfortunately, apart from that short edit from OP, she did not reply to any more comments, so we have no additional context regarding anything in this story, which means we move on straight to the update to see how the story ends. But before that, if you're enjoying this video so far, please, again, don't forget to click that like button, write down a comment in the comment section, and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Now, let's move on with the update. I'll start this post off by saying thank you for all the advice and support I was given. You all gave me a firm kick in the ass to divorce my ex. Also, sorry for leaving you in the lurch for the past 2 months. Alright, here's the update. After making my post, I decided to search for divorce lawyers in my area with my sister. It took a while, but I managed to find and meet with one who was willing to do virtual consultations. During this time, my ex was not contacting me at all, but I did reach out to see if he was okay. Eventually, once he got served, my ex came back to our house and tried pleading with me not to go through with their divorce. He said he loved me more than anyone and that we could go to couples therapy. Throughout all of this, my ex slipped up and admitted to cheating on me when he first left me. He said he got caught up with his co-worker when trying to explain his weeks-long absence. At first, I didn't realize who he was talking about because he referred to her by a nickname. Think Viv over Vivian. But my brain kicked back into gear and I asked if that getting caught up with her was code for that he effed her. My ex stumbled over his words and tried to dodge the question, but he seemed to realize that I wasn't going to let up on this pretty quickly. He admitted to going to her for emotional support before our baby was born since he was nervous about being a dad, and eventually effing her during the time he left me, so you guys were right about him cheating. I had heard enough at that point and told my ex point blank that we were going to divorce. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, and that I wanted 50-50 custody. We'd only speak about the divorce, custody arrangements, and our daughter after this. My ex just nodded to what I was saying and asked if he could see our daughter. I was a bit hesitant but said yes and called my sister to have her bring our daughter down to the living room. My ex held our daughter and talked to the baby for a bit before leaving. My sister asked me if I was alright after he was gone and I told her I was okay. My mother-in-law did try to harass me over the phone about me divorcing my ex, but by then I had already blocked her, so she went to my sister instead. I guess my mother-in-law was never told that I owned the house my ex and I previously shared, since she texted my sister saying that I was going to be on the streets. Well, my mother-in-law most certainly knows that now, since my ex is now living with her and moved out. I think she assumed that if I got kicked out, my daughter would be stuck with my ex rather than me taking my daughter with me and staying at my parents' house. My ex has seen our daughter a few times. Those visits were awkward, to say the least, but I managed. Honestly, the funniest part about this is that I get the majority of my features from my grandma on my mom's side, and my ex even commented that we look so much alike after seeing a photo of her. Hopefully, I won't have to give you guys any more updates about this. Thanks again. Well, OP, it's definitely a positive that you left that weak-ass excuse for a man. Not only did he accuse you of cheating, but he was the cheater himself. I have zero empathy for this idiot. Oh, I'm nervous about being a father, so instead of talking to my wife about it, I'm gonna go talk to a co-worker and confide in her and then get into bed with her. Honestly, OP, it's a good thing that you dumped the dead weight, and now he's your ex-mother-in-law's problem. So good riddance to the both of them. Good thing you have a good support system in your sister at the moment. So on that note, here's wishing you the best in the future, OP. Thank you so much for sharing and take care. And now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user LividOcelot9274. Would I be the a-hole for straight up leaving and ghosting my fiance after I found out she cheated? I, 28 male, have found out that my fiance, 30 female of 2 years, cheated on me. We have been together for 6 years and are in love with each other. At least that's how it was for me. She has been acting more distant and has become more protective of her phone for the last 2 months. At first, I was not suspicious of anything, but the doubt grew more and more inside me as time passed, especially after asking her if there was a problem since she felt distant. She said there is no problem and that was it. I gave in and snooped on her phone to discover she had been sexting a guy for the last 2 months. I was devastated. At the beginning of our relationship, I clearly told her lying and cheating in any form were 2 unforgivable actions for me. Yet she decided to cheat on me after 6 years of relationship, and we had been planning the wedding for this summer. I am not proud of that, but I checked the old messages as well, but there was no case of cheating other than this. I have been thinking about it for the last few days. I tried to rationalize it and told myself I cannot be leaving a 6-year relationship because of a single mistake, but after having a long talk with my oldest sister, I realized I should respect myself and leave. She was the one who betrayed the relationship, not me. We do not have any shared assets and the lease is on my fiance's name. I have an inherited house, but it's in another city. Tomorrow I am planning just to get the important things from the house, block her from everywhere, and just leave. I do not want closure, to be honest. I just want to grieve the relationship. I thought maybe I did not love her, given that I want to leave her right away, but it's not like that. It hurts a lot. I tend to stress eat, self-indulge, doom scroll, and spiral into depression in these kinds of situations. I have that experience from my early 20s. Going with no contact and returning to the city where my family lives will give me a circle that can support me. Would I be the a-hole if I straight up left and ghosted her without saying anything? Well, OP, in my opinion, no. I mean, you've got the proof she cheated, so that's it. That was one of your biggest boundaries, and I think that should be a boundary for anybody. You lie, you cheat, we're done. If you don't need closure or anything like that, then you can just leave, because in my opinion, cheaters get no sympathy or empathy, only antipathy. So if you believe you'll be better and taken care of in your hometown with your family supporting you, then yeah, by all means, get your stuff and just go away while she's at work or whatever. It doesn't really matter. You can just leave whenever you want, OP. And again, no, you would not be the a-hole in my opinion. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? Would you do the same? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Funaxis4243 says, she lied and she cheated. You also made your terms clear and there was a violation of that understanding and agreement. I think if you would have stayed, you would be making excuses, disrespecting yourself, and allowing that behavior to continue for the future. You don't owe her an explanation. Her actions speak for themselves. So your reaction does as well. There's no need to argue or hold on to a lie, or play games or pretend. You'd only be compromising yourself and relationship further. When this happens to me, I have my answer already. I am sorry though. I wish you all the best wherever your life takes you. Being in a supportive environment will be a blessing. Go where you're honored and celebrated, and it doesn't mean what you had wasn't real. Allow yourself to fully feel it, see it now, release it, and move on. Love and keep living. This also allows you time and space and change. You will find love again. Mareld says, not the a-hole for leaving, but I really think you should tell her why. You could print the texts out and just leave them in the apartment. You don't have to talk to her. or a note saying, "I know you cheated." I don't know, but I feel like she needs to know why you're leaving, otherwise she's gonna paint you as the bad guy. She should have to live with it, knowing her cheating made you leave. She needs to feel accountable. And Super Triffle 513 says, "I second all the comments that call for you to keep screenshots as evidence. If you do go ahead with ghosting, the likelihood is that without explanation from you, she's going to play the poor abandoned fiancé and claim she has no clue why you've left. This way, if you have proof, she can't play the victim and turn you into some sort of monster." I wouldn't personally ghost. I would have at least a conversation, even if it was only to very firmly say, "I'm leaving and I want nothing to do with you. Do not contact me or my family." And then I would make sure they know why. However, I can't judge you for just wanting to get out immediately. Not the a-hole. Alright, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and the majority of them are telling OP that he should at least keep the screenshots in case the now ex-fiancé decides to paint the narrative in a different way. Now, OP didn't reply to any comments or give us an edit, so we have no additional context, which means we move on straight to the update to see how this story ends. Firstly, English isn't my native tongue and I'm not in the USA. Also, I will not spread screenshots on social media or anywhere. That's illegal and a low blow, even if it does not contain sexual parts. It's a private thing and I'm not planning to use these unless she plays dirty. Now, one of my sisters came early in the morning to take me after my fiancé left for her work, and we packed some small things. As the lease is in her name, I do not have any furniture and stuff. We packed clothes, accessories, and other small and personal things. Her car is an SUV type, so we were able to fit most of the required things, thankfully. I could not take the ring though. I left the keys under the flower pot and put a sticky note on the refrigerator saying, "I know, bye." The drive took about 7 hours and we safely arrived to the inherited house. On the ride, I received countless messages and calls from unknown numbers, but I did not answer any of them. Once we arrived at the home, my eldest sister called me asking if we arrived. She told me my fiancé called her crying at around 3 p.m. and my sister told her not to contact me, that we know everything, and if she tried to paint me in a bad light, we would not use only words, but we do not back away from showing solid proof to people. My fiancé requested to know where I was and to speak to me. My sister said I was fine and she should not contact me in any form. When my fiancé said we at least deserve a closure, my sister replied, "Too bad, suck it up." Not exactly that, but that's how I would translate that idiom, and ended the call. I still get calls and messages from unknown numbers. In the end, her father and mother called me. Surprisingly, my fiancé came clean to them, and while they hoped I would give her a chance, they respected my decision. I thanked them and wished them the best of luck. Her father told me he would be sending the ring's money and asked me for my bank account. He actually sent it by adjusting to inflation, so I got a pretty decent money. Her parents are incredible people. I am glad they did not push for anything further. The house is in an almost perfect condition as we renovated it before my mom passed away. It's just incredibly dusty and dirty after not being used since then. My 3 sisters will come this weekend and we'll clean it together. My eldest sister broke up with her girlfriend recently, so she plans to live with me after her lease ends in a few months. She has been complaining about the rent prices for a while. My sisters are pretty much my only family, so I only informed them with some really close friends. I am planning on going to therapy after settling here. It may sound weird how close I am with my sisters, but we grew up like that. We grew up with an abusive father, and as I was the only man and the youngest one, so all of the abuse was mostly directed towards me. We bonded with each other through trauma, and they tended to be a bit protective of me. I think that history is one of the reasons I just did not want to face my ex-fiancé. I thought I got over that considering nothing happened since family therapy we took, but it seems to be there. I'll get into therapy as soon as possible to understand everything and resolve the problems. I will post if there are any updates, but I just hope there will not be any. I just want to have peace and grieve right now. Hopefully, she will not come. Well, it'll be good for you. It sounds like you and your sisters are a really tight group considering everything you all went through. I'm really sorry you had to go through that, but hopefully, as you say, within therapy, you'll be able to understand everything that's going on and resolve your issues. And regarding your ex, well, her parents are classy people unlike her, and you should just focus on yourself. If she shows up, you should ask her to leave. And with all that, here's wishing you the best in the future, OP. Thank you so much for sharing and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.